Today's show is brought to you by Audible.com. With over 100,000 titles to choose from, your iPhone, Android, MP3 player, or whatever, you get to choose one free audiobook download of your choice at audibletrial.com/discussion. That's audibletrial.com/discussion. We thank them for supporting the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Legendary Episode number 9.
Legendary.
I'm your host, Devin Casey, and joining me only today is, he's joining me all the time, but it is only he that is joining me, is Ryan Drover.
It is only I.
Richard is out today. He will be with us next week, but you and I, we got this.
Yeah.
We got this, right?
I think we can tackle this legendary episode.
I mean, there's perhaps not enough cultural diversity here to appeal to all of our listeners, but
right.
I think we can get the hang of this.
Not without Richard.
That tan guy.
That tan, beautiful tan.
So how you doing, man? How's your week been?
Week's been all right. Working my A off.
Right on.
Working doubles. So many hours.
Right. Sweet.
Yeah.
Saving up for that PS4?
Not yet. I want to wait. Nothing's really grabbing me, like none of the launch titles, man. I went to Best Buy on the 15th when it launched, probably around like 2, and there was nobody there, by the way. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah. And I just walked up to the PS4 area, and I assumed that there's going to be, 50 kids just sitting there trying to play, and there was no one there at all. So
wow.
I just walked up, grabbed the controller. It felt awesome. The controller's great. The system was in a case, so I couldn't really look around it or touch it or anything, but it looks nice. It's very sleek, very polished. And then I was going through a Sony Bravia TV. I mean, it looked good, but I could only play knack, and there were only some indie games and like FIFA 14, I think. So I couldn't really play any of the crazy graphical content like Battlefield 4 or anything like that. So, but it was okay. I liked it.
Well, I heard the first party games, they kind of suck.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard Battlefield 4 is great, and then Killzone I heard is good. They're launch titles, mind you. They're
right.
I don't think they had enough time with them, honestly.
And honestly, that's so difficult to develop those because, those people are having to start making these games on dev kits that change so many times over the course of the console's birth.
Yep.
I mean, you can't expect those to be... Well, you can, but you really shouldn't expect those to be polished games, I would say.
Yeah.
But, we all called it. We knew these games weren't going to be the best because they can't quite fully breathe life into the potential of the hardware at the moment.
Yeah, you have to give it time. You have to give... I think it's going to be at least 6 months before there's a really standout, very highly rated game for the PS4 where it's going to draw me in or draw other people in to be like, all right, I really want this system now.
Yeah. Now is the perfect time, I think, to bring back those classic franchises like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. Yes!
Yeah, Sony has a bunch of smaller... They have a bunch of studios, like sub-studios, that are working on games.
How many games? Like over 150?
Yeah, it's like 165 or something.
Man.
That are being worked on right now, and then I think at launch there was 32 games released, including indie games. Probably only like 5 or 6 of those were major games. And then I think next year they said they'll be releasing over 100 games for the console or something like that, which is good. So there's throughout the year, hopefully, second, third quarter next year, we'll have some good games on our plate to play.
Yeah. You must have gotten incredibly lucky to have walked into a store that wasn't terribly busy with all that. Maybe everyone just actually got their pre-orders and there was no issue with that.
Yeah, I think it was. It might just be my area, honestly, but I think it was hectic. Probably midnight if Best Buy had like a midnight thing, or whenever Best Buy opened, they probably had a line or a lot of people waiting to get their pre-orders. But I went at like 2 p.m. So, and what was it, a Friday? So, I mean, it was Best Buy was busy. There were a lot of people there, but there was nobody near the PS4. It was weird.
Man.
Yep.
But the PS4 sales, they passed 1 million today. At least that's what's been posted.
Yeah,
That's
in 24 hours they did 1 million.
that's crazy. Is not to sound completely ignorant because all these sales are well, yeah, they all are in North America. I'm not an economist or anything, but what do you think that says about the economy, about over 1 million people laying down $400 or more on a video game console? That's like you would have never seen that several years ago.
Right. I mean, but there's always going to be the core following of gamers. You know, like we're growing over the past 10 years at least, like since the PS2 launched and all that, and it's just grown significantly every year.
Definitely, definitely. Um, but you know there was hardware issues. We expected that. It was simple HDMI issue with a wire prong being bent and all that. Um, they weren't sure, to the best of my knowledge, that it came like that, or if players were simply plugging in the cord a little aggressively, trying to turn this damn thing on.
Yeah, super excited.
Yeah, I don't know, but it seems to be a simple fix, and at the worst, you can bend the thing back on the console and just get another HDMI cord. But other than that, I mean, there's not a million complaints, so everyone seems to be quiet, and I think that's a pretty good thing. Like at dinner, everyone's quiet, the food's good.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
that was the only big problem.
yeah.
So,
But that's cool. Um, this past week, I did the same, work as usual, but that's boring. But yesterday, Saturday, I made some sushi, and I didn't like go buy some or buy a kit. Like I full on made it. And there's some things people don't tell you about making your own sushi. Um, this shit is complicated. A little goes a long way. Like as far as ingredients and stuff goes, if you're like just two people making sushi, you only need to buy like one carrot or one cucumber, and you're not gonna you're not gonna um, you're not gonna use a whole bunch of vegetables and stuff. And you have to pick those vegetables a different way. Like you have to, if you're picking a cucumber, you can't pick necessarily a squishy one with kind of a soft center, which is great with salt on it. You got to pick snap, crunchy cucumbers that cut really well. And so we went to H Mart, which is like an Asian market, kind of.
is it like tomatoes or whatever? You ever been there?
No, I haven't.
That's near where I live actually, and it's this full-on Japanese market. I used to go there with a buddy of mine and pick up stuff when he made sushi. So he used to make sushi all the time because he has this obsession with Japanese culture.
Oh yeah.
Which
I'm not sure if this one's strictly Japanese. If anything, it seems kind of Chinese.
really,
I think just Asian in general.
yeah,
I mean, they have all the Asian candy you'd expect to see, but a whole lot of it wasn't necessarily Japanese. Like World Market had more Japanese candy than they did, but they certainly had a diverse selection of stuff and vegetables and fruits you don't ever really see. And then like a whole little fish market in and of itself that occupies a good fourth of the store and smells really fishy. Made me want to go to Florida. But yeah, we went there, and it's a bunch of. And I'm trying to be as politically accurate. There was a bunch of small Asian people walking around doing their thing, and I have a small little Asian girlfriend, so she was my ticket in there, I suppose you could say, into the chocolate factory. But sushi's a small food made by even smaller means, and I don't mean to to imply that there's any connection there, but it's difficult to make with my large hands, and it's difficult to make small portions with my large hands, and consequently my large stomach. So I'm thinking, like, is this going to be filling enough? And I mean, hell yeah, sushi's filling. Because you know how when you're eating sushi, it's not that you get full, it's that you get tired of sushi.
Yeah.
So if you've ever went to like a sushi restaurant, you order a bunch of sushi. It's not like you can't eat another bite. It's just like, I don't want any more sushi.
Yeah.
But rolling a sushi roll yourself, it punches you in your spoiled in an American face with humility, because it's difficult. And we had to buy the nori, which is not. I'm just a white guy. I don't really know what I'm talking about. Which is these dried, toasted seaweed paper things,
right.
flats. We bought some rice wine vinegar and all the stuff that, because you gotta, and we also bought a rice cooker, because a rice cooker is it's more than ideal. It is essentially a necessity to get the rice a specific like texture, like a way. You get your short grain rice and everything, and that cooked out and it came out great. And then you gotta kind of sweeten the rice with this thing called sushi su, which is like a mixture of like sake and rice vinegar and like some salt, and it gives this sushi a kind of a, you know how sushi is already kind of bland and subtle.
Yeah.
It gives it a kind of subtle sweetness to it, and really sticky too.
Yeah.
But it really complements everything else that's part of the roll. And so we kind of, got the sushi ready and everything, kind of flattened it out over the roll. We were going by instructions on an iPad. And so we flattened it out, and it's all over my hands and everything. We got a bamboo mat, which is used for rolling and applying even pressure all over the roll while you're rolling it. And tried to put in like imitation crab meat and cucumbers and carrots, which was a mistake because the carrot kind of ruined it. It was just too powerful in flavor.
Yeah.
And the crab meat was too subtle.
Yeah.
Ended up putting too much of everything. Too much rice, too much of everything, and it wouldn't roll completely. And it was kind of like a sushi taco, if anything else. Now, my little Asian girlfriend, Corey, she managed to get it on her first time. And I posted a photo on Instagram, and the ones that don't look good, those are mine. Don't worry. But, this isn't like a pizza. You can only fit so little inside of a roll. And I think the most valuable lesson is don't take good soy sauce for granted. You can't go cheap on soy sauce.
Nope.
We bought this like huge bottle for like $2. It was like mushroom soy sauce. And I'm thinking, hell yeah, mushrooms and soy sauce? That sounds great. It just tasted awful. And then we were just so grateful that we happened to find like 2 of those spare packets of like Kikkoman soy sauce you get from ordering Chinese out in the fridge.
Yeah.
And that saved the day. But yeah, you definitely have to splurge on some good soy sauce.
Nice.
And yeah, that's my story. It ended up being pretty good and ended up being full off of 3. And yeah, that's it.
That's good, man. I wish I had some killer homemade sushi.
Well, I still have a bunch of ingredients left over because, like I said, a little goes a long way, and we have a lot left.
Right.
But yeah, so let's jump into some Hearthstone stuff. That's what everyone's here for, I imagine, unless they're here to listen to your charming personality.
Oh, stop.
You stud. The dev team is working on improving friend finding and social functionality. Now, there's no details available on this. This is by Aratil on the forums. But that bodes well. That's better, because all you have right now to hook up with your friends on the game is just that little pop-up menu, see what they're playing.
Yeah. Classic Battle.net menu.
Right, which could, for a game where all you can do is play other players, I feel like that needs to be more integrated and more mainstream, like bigger.
Yeah, there should be a friend finder thing or whatever.
Oh yeah, good idea. Or I'm gonna you can burn me on the stake for saying this, but maybe some Facebook integration. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because social platforms,
Yeah, and unless you're like scared to show all your other Facebook friends, hey, I play this game, which you shouldn't be. Screw that.
Well, more resources are actually being devoted to giving beta keys out than battling the beta key sellers on eBay, says also Aratil. How do you feel about that? Like they're working harder on getting beta invites out, rather than bringing down the people selling them for $40 on eBay.
I don't think they care as much about the whole people making money because they're Blizzard.
Plus, they're making an exponentially larger amount than they ever will.
Right, it's publicity anyway. Um, I don't know. We're so close to an open beta anyway. I don't know if people can't be patient for another month or whatever. I think they're doing open beta in December or something. They said.
They're shooting for December, but as always, they have the asterisks, which may extend it to January.
Yeah, well,
which is very likely.
Everyone's gonna taste the beta before the game launches anyway, so I don't know. I don't think they should be putting more effort into other stuff.
I agree. Like balancing.
Yes.
Streamers have not been given any beta keys for several weeks now, says Aerotel, which is interesting because a bunch of streamers are still giving them out. So I guess they just kind of stagger that, which is actually pretty clever. Keep people coming back, that kind of thing. Alex Straza, the legendary card, who is a 9/8/8 legendary, sets a hero's health to 15 when it's played. You can use this on you. So like if you're at 4 health, you can instantly bring your health back up to 15, which is kind of useful.
Yep.
Or you can set an opposing player's health to 15 if they're over 15. You don't have to, but it's the most tactful use. But when used on a warrior, and let's say I'm running a warrior with, and I've literally done this last week. I had 42 armor.
Wow.
Yeah, I had something like 52 health. So when used on a warrior, it destroys all of their armor and sets their health to 15. It runs right through the armor, like it doesn't matter. And that's kind of broken. And Zarya on the forums has confirmed that this is not working as intended. So you can expect that to be fixed.
Good.
Yep. No plans to host an official Blizzard tournament for Hearthstone's best players really anytime soon, says Aerotel, because they like to say that they still don't have enough players. And of course that wouldn't be fair because not everyone can even participate. There's bound to be the best player of all time out there who doesn't even know about the game yet,
Right.
But beta invites have been sent to most of the players that have opted in to the beta, says Aerotel, which sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of people complaining they don't have a beta invite. Perhaps that's actually a minority compared to who's actually playing, or the number is just so large. I don't know, man. It's looking good though. Let's move on to some gameplay thoughts. This past week, I was playing a Frothing Berserker plus an Armor Smith. The Frosting Berserker from Wendy's is a great value. But the Frothing Berserker...
the Frosty Berserker is...
it's a special Halloween... No, the Frothing Berserker, he gains attack anytime a minion takes damage, which is... it's a warrior card, I think. He's... so valuable. He's like that undead minion. Every time a minion dies, he gains attack. But this guy's even better. Anytime a minion takes damage, whether it be your minion or their minion, when you trade, that counts for 2. Anytime a minion takes damage, he gets +1 attack, which is so great if you can get him behind a bunch of other minions and some taunts, or you can even stealth him so he can grow. So good. Comboing this card with Armor Smith, which is anytime when you lay this card down, anytime you also another warrior card, whenever one of your friendly minions takes damage, your hero, Garrosh Hellscream, he gets 1 armor. So you can just lay these 2 down and you're just building up attack on this guy and building up armor, and the chance of their victory at least visually looks less and less likely. And I made several opponents hilariously concede after maybe 1 or 2 turns of this. It's pretty great.
That's awesome.
Definitely a good combo, I suggest, with the warrior, which I've been playing a lot of. But as we could have imagined, sure enough, people are playing copycat decks from BlizzCon in that tournament and winning games with them, no less. Which those are good cards in those decks usually. Like we said before, those cards were generally made to handle the the potential decks they were going up against from what they thought they would see in the other players. Um, but the one-turn kill Unleash the Hounds decks continued to frustrate. I actually lost to one. I was getting 100 down. He was at like 6 health, and he hadn't played a single minute on the card. And it occurred to me at like turn 7 or 8, all these cards in his hand, what he's gonna do, and he just steamrolled me. It didn't matter what was on my side. I completely lost. Has that happened to you yet?
No, I haven't seen one of those yet.
Oh, well, it sucks, and it's cheap.
Yeah, that's
like, what is there to be gained from cheap wins like that?
I don't know.
Right.
Easy,
Besides
fast playing. I don't know.
Like, why even play? It's like adding cheat codes to The Sims. Like, what's the point? What are you working for at that point?
I guess boosting your rep or boosting your standing, I guess, in the rankings.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it's that kind of thing that's gonna make the ranking system harder to get up to.
Yeah.
People are gonna take advantage of it, and it's gonna make we're never gonna get an increase to our gold income from winning matches with people being able to do that.
Nope.
But what's your favorite stage to play in Hearthstone? Like, I like the Horde stage with the cannibal and the rocks, the stones you can put inside it and launch them.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite. It's Orgrimmar, I think, and it's where it has the catapult and then the zeppelin and the gate to Orgrimmar or whatever.
Yeah.
That's it's either that or
the Pandaria one has the fruit and the.
What's the one with it's got the what is it? The rainbow and then the hut with a fire pit.
Oh, like the jungle thing?
Yeah. Oh, it's
Stranglethorn of Vale, maybe?
Yeah, Stranglethorn. Yeah. That's probably my favorite. So I like lighting that fire, and then if you keep clicking on the
carpet?
The carpet thing, like
changes animals.
The mane, yeah, it changes the coat. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and you click the jewel in the statue and it falls off.
Yeah, in the eye, and then if that little beast comes under the log, you can click on him and he makes a little tiger noise. So yeah. Today, we actually we're fortunate enough, right, to get some support from other people.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So in the spirit of that, there's this wonderful website called audibletrial.com, and you can go there and you can get if you like audiobooks, like you listen to if you like listening rather than reading, which can be good. Some people do.
For me.
Yeah, some people do both. I like both. Sometimes it gets freaking annoying though, reading. It's nice to just kind of relax in the bathtub and listen and with some candles or something.
Or on the drive.
Right, or on the drive to work where you can't really read anything unless you want to crash in a ditch or something, that's good. But if you
Please don't read and drive.
You can actually get a free audiobook if you go to audibletrial.com/discussion, which will also help us out. It'll support us if you want to, do that like you already are, you fantastic people, you. Yeah, you can get a free audiobook download. They have hundreds of thousands of titles like The Hobbit, and they also have Warcraft novels and Harry Potter, Tom Clancy, any of that kind of stuff, I'm sure you can find something that you'll be interested in. You could read it on your iPhone or your Android or tablet or anything like that. Or play it, rather. Listen to it. But yeah, check that out. It's wonderful. Get a free audiobook.
Yeah, that's audibletrial.com/discussion.
Yes.
Use our special code to get that free book. My username in Hearthstone, if you ever see anyone on Hearthstone named Vrael, Vrael, that's me. And that name I actually got from a lovely book that I've read the entire series. They're about the length of a Harry Potter book each, and it's 4 books. It's called The Inheritance Cycle. And it's about dragons and stuff and magic. It's a lot like The Lord of the Rings. And it's just, I absolutely love that book. It's by Christopher Paolini. That's available, of course. And but I pulled the name Vrael from one of the first dragon riders in the lore of this book, and it's just such a good read. I definitely recommend it. And you get your money's worth with picking a book that big too, which in this case is free, so you can't beat that.
Right. I mean, the best thing to do is go for the biggest, baddest book you can. Get some leverage out of it, you know. I like a lot of the Elder Scrolls novels.
Yeah.
I thought those were great. I started reading The Infernal City, which is an Elder Scrolls novel by Greg Keyes, and it just kind of goes in depth about certain things surrounding like the Gate to Oblivion and all the Daedric Lords and all that kind of stuff. It's really interesting. If you're into anything like that.
Hell yeah.
So.
Nerd culture.
Oh yeah. I mean,
or whatever.
Where are we, you know?
50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, if you want to check out 50 Shades of Grey or maybe Twilight, if you're interested in that, like Devin, it's good stuff. So yeah.
Well, anyway, let's move on. So, you know, I've yet to really be convinced what's so legendary about this show, Ryan. Like, are you holding out? Like, what's up? What's this all about? What are we even talking about? Like, what are we doing?
Talking about Hearthstone, man. We're talking about competitive card playing.
Oh yeah, not trading card playing.
No.
This isn't a trading card game.
No, this isn't Pokemon.
You sure it's not a TCG? Because you know I've been seeing some Hearthstone podcasts that they say they're talking about the TCG, and I mean.
Oh dear.
And then I see right here you spelled legendaries wrong. So I'm just not sure about your credibility at this point.
Yeah, I mean I are good spelling, so.
Yeah.
You know, that's my strong point. I won the first grade spelling bee, you know, so.
Oh, okay.
When I was 6, so get at me, bro.
Much grammar. So accurate.
Much grammar.
Wow. Okay. So what's up with this? What's your spell?
What's my spell?
Spill. Like, yeah.
My big tip.
No, not your big tip.
You don't want to see my big tip?
Do you have a big tip?
I do. Not yet, though.
Oh, okay.
What's my spill? What are you talking about?
Your legendary spill.
My legendary spill?
You're teasing me, man. What makes a perfect legendary minion card?
Legendary spelled L-E-N... Just kidding. Legendarys. That's how you spell. Apparently.
Apparently.
Well, I delved into the legendary minions specific to each class, which there's 9 of them.
And that is mage, warlock, druid.
Yeah, mage, warlock, shaman, druid, rogue. Warrior, paladin, priest,
Murloc.
No. Away with the Murlocs. Yeah, hunter.
Right.
We already said all of them. Whatever. They're all good. I mean, they're all amazing. I don't know how I feel about certain ones, because certain ones are stronger than others. Like Prophet Velen is okay. He's circumstantial above all else, but he's the priest legendary minion. He's a 7/7/7, and his effect is he doubles the damage and the healing of your spells and your hero power. So if you're working with a deck that has Shadow Form that changes your hero power from healing into Mind Spike or something like that, where you deal 2 or 3 damage, and if you're fortunate enough to have I think it's Mind Blast, and then you get Mind Spike. So if you're at Mind Spike and you have Prophet Velen on the field, you can do 6 damage a turn for only 2 mana, which is pretty awesome.
So his buff applies after all the other buffs have taken their toll. Like if you have a 5 damage card, if you have a 5 damage effect, and then like other spell power, which would boost it to like 6, then Prophet Valen's abilities applied, making it 12.
Yeah, I think that's the order of operations that it goes in.
On the forums, they confirm that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because that was up to question for sure.
Well, that would make more sense.
I mean, you definitely get more out of it.
Right, you get more leverage. But 9 class-specific legendary minions. I want all of them, or particularly, like Cenarius and Gramash, Hellscream, which is the legendary for the warrior, which I think personally is the best one. He's an 8/4/9, but yeah, he has charge, and he has an enrage effect that gives him +6 attack.
I would hope so, because he's expensive for only 4 health.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 attack.
Yeah, 4 attack. I think that's crazy. Like, if your opponent has any minions on the field with kind of low attacks, like maybe he throws out a one of the what are those taunt minions? The 1/7 guys that cost 4, I think. Like Mogashan, the Mogashan Defender or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, if you attack one of them, if you place it right and you attack one of them, only take 1 damage or 2 damage, 3 maybe maximum, then you'll gain 6 attack, which is crazy. And if you put him behind, some taunt minions, he can destroy everything. It's crazy. So.
But he's got good health, though.
Yeah, he's got 9, which, I mean, he could have 7 or 6 and still be good, I think.
I mean, if used properly with his charge, you're immediately going to, like, if you lay him down and you charge, and chances are this is the only thing you can do that turn, unless you have anything else on the board. You're gonna charge and you're gonna damage him, so he's gonna rage and get that 6 attack,
and
which makes
it'll be you'll have the advantage of choosing how much attack you want taken out of your health. So if he has 3 or 4 minions on the field and they're all diverse in attack, you can kind of choose the lowest and be like, all right, I'll charge on this guy first, and only take a little bit of damage, but get that initial boost. So then next turn he's looking at a 10/7 maybe, and they're like, okay, crap. Well, anything I attack him with is gonna die, so I can either sacrifice a bunch of small minions, or use some spells or something like that.
Definitely. And the Warriors have a card, can't recall it, but you can give a damage minion +3 and 3, I believe.
Right. And
man, that's so brutal.
Stacked in a warrior deck like that with certain things, and you can damage them as well with something like Whirlwind or.
Or yeah, there's a card where you deal 1 damage to a card,
yeah, so
another guy, and give him +2 attack. So that would be like 12.
Yeah, so if you use Whirlwind, if you stack this with like other enraged minions in your deck, and you use a Whirlwind and they all gain attack at once, maybe you use 2 Whirlwinds. That's insane, dude. Behind some taunts, and then like you said, whatever that card is that damages a minion by 1 or 2, and then gives them +2 attack or something like that. And then you get other cards like the Blacksmith and just stack this attack. That's terrible. It's like staring down a barrel of a gun.
I'm actually surprised there's no cards that that I know of that give enrage abilities to minions, like give enrage +4 attack. Like, that's just an ability they have,
Yeah.
You could work with that in interesting ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, good card.
Yeah, I mean, they're all good. Like I said, they all offer a lot, but they're all also very rare to find in a pack. I mean, if you find one in a random card pack, then you should consider yourself extremely lucky.
Yeah, no kidding.
Otherwise, you can craft them all for 1,600 arcane dust, which is a lot.
1 each, 1,600 each.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That was pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not all of them, but yeah, 1 at a time, 1,600. I mean so it'll take a while to get not only the class-specific legendaries that you want, but also the non-class-specific legendaries, the neutral ones. But I think the best idea is to accumulate all your arcane dust until you get to 1,600, and then craft a legendary. Or you can do some epics, but I think these legendary cards are going to be very important in late game play against, if you're playing if you're higher up in the community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
So what other class you got?
I like Cenarius as well, and then
That's the druids.
Druids. Cenarius is demigod, and I'm not going to go into his lore right now. That'll take a long time. But Cenarius is like the original druid. He's kind of like the overseer of all the druids. Well, he
Right.
was, and he's dead. But yeah, he's a 9/5/8, and he takes utilization of the choose one mechanic that the druids have. So his effect is choose one, give your other minions +2/+2, which is awesome. Or you could summon two attack 2 health treants with taunt, which can also be good.
That's pretty tricky to get around.
Yeah. So if you have a lot of minions on the field, you give them all +2/2. That's a huge boost to all your minions, especially if you have a taunt minion or a couple taunt minions or something like that. So I think Cenarius is valuable. Also, there's Tyrion Fordring, which is the Paladin legendary, and I think he's really great too. He's an 8/6/6. He's got Divine Shield, Taunt, and he has a Death Rattle effect, which when he dies, that's what Death Rattle means. When he dies, the hero equips a 5/3 Ashbringer, which is 5 attack, 3 durability.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that's the only way you can obtain the Ashbringer card, which is also another legendary. I think that's just tied into Tyrion Fordring. But yeah, there's also King Crush, which is the Hunter legendary. He's pretty basic. He's a giant T-Rex. He's 9/8/8, and he has charge, which is crazy.
I don't know a single person that doesn't like a 9/8/8 with charge. Like King Crush is very popular from what I've heard.
Oh yeah, I mean that's terrifying. If you can't get rid of him, and you don't have any taunts out, and he's just like laying into everything you have and or destroying your enemy's health, that sucks.
I mean, he's powerful. I mean, you can silence him, and he's still a devastating 9/8/8.
Yep. And then there's Mage and Warlock. Mage is Archmage Antonidas, I think is his name. He's a 7/5/7, and his effect is whenever you cast a spell, put a fireball spell into your hand, which is pretty awesome. If you have a lot of low cost spells like 0 or 1 or mirror image or anything like that, you can kind of throw a bunch of spells out on the field and then accumulate all these fireballs. And I think they cost 4 mana, so next turn you can use 2 of them against the enemy minion, and it'll take 2 or 3 turns to win.
I've read a good combo where you lay this guy, and then you lay the counterspell secret, so you get a fireball, and then you'll counter their sheep or whatever, and it's just it's delicious.
Oh yeah. What else do we have? Rogues legendary is Edwin Van Cleef.
Nice choice.
Yeah, he's I don't know. He was like the founder of one of the syndicates or something, and he's a 3/2/2. So he's got a very low cost and very low attack and health, but his combo, he has the combo, which is the effect thing that rogues do. I think it's when you play a card and then you can play a card right after, and that's a combo or something like that.
Yeah, I think the thing to understand with this guy is just because he has a low mana cost doesn't mean you should play him early. In fact, that's so you can combo him late game.
Right, exactly. You can stack him with other cards, after, because his effect is gain +2/2 for each card played earlier this turn. So if you start a turn, you have him in your hand, and you have a bunch of low-cost cards, like 1 or 2 or maybe 3, and you can play 4 cards, and then set him out, then he'll be at a 10/10, which is awesome.
Definitely. He's made for late game.
Yeah, for sure. Who else do we have? Lord Jaraxxus is the...
Nice.
Yeah. He's one of the Draenei lords of the Burning Legion or something. Evil.
Trifling gnome.
Yeah.
Your arrogance will be your own.
But yeah, he's a 9/3/15, and he basically he destroys your hero, which is Gul'dan, right? The warlock. Destroys him and replaces him with himself. And
Wow.
yeah, it's weird. But he has an awesome... and it also replaces the hero spell, which is what you take 2 damage and then draw a card. It replaces that with a 2 mana, the same hero power. It costs 2 mana, but you can summon a like a feral spirit or something, or a demon that's a 6/6, I think, something like that. And that's crazy. And it only costs 2 mana every turn you want to summon a 6/6 demon.
Apparently, you can counter on him. Like if you use the Sacrificial Pact, which destroys the demon and restores 5 health to your hero. If you use that on your hero, apparently, if what I'm reading is accurate, you'll turn back into Gul'dan.
Wow.
Yeah, that's true. That's pretty funny. That's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. We also have Alakir the Wind Lord, which I guess is one of the elemental lords, probably. I'm assuming.
The worst one, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. But
the weakest of the
he has 8. He's an 8/3/5, and he has Wind Fury, Charge, Divine Shield, and Taunt. I think he's the weakest out of all of them, honestly, because of his low attack and low health. Sure, he has Wind Fury and Charge, which is good. That'll be good late game if you kind of want to end the game, if you're not facing a bunch of taunts or other minions or something that could just get rid of him fast, because I think on the turn you play him, you're probably going to want to win. Cause,
I mean, yeah, he's really bursty, because he's
right.
basically an 8/6/5 with Divine Shield. So
right. So, and he has Wind Fury, and but I think taunt is bad. It's not a good thing for him.
I mean, yeah.
Because you put him down, you're going to want to either end the game, because next turn, when it's your opponent's turn, he's going to be a taunt, so he's going to be like, okay, I'm going to get rid of this legendary that he just put out and tried to kill me with, but failed.
I mean, this is a board control minion right here.
Right.
What else you got?
I think that's all of them.
Yeah, you got yeah, man. All right.
I mean,
man,
I'm scared of playing legendaries, though. Like, using all my dust to craft this legendary, and then I go up against a shaman and they just hex it.
Right. I mean, like, when we're going over these, this is all under the impression that all of their weaknesses are hexing or sheeping or mind controlling, right, or assassination. Yep. I mean,
it's just situational, though. Or like, if God forbid, if you're playing a priest and they mind control it, like you spend all this time and you buff up this Gramash Hellscream card, and you're like, holy crap, he's got 18 attack and still 5 health, whatever. Right, and on. Then the priest is like, nah, I'm gonna mind control him.
Yeah. I mean, generally you don't want to play them like right before priest has their turn 8, because it's generally not a good idea.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I think the priority for every player who wants a legendary is going to be crafting the legendary that's tailored to them, either from the effects or for the class that they play most, obviously. Like, I play Priest and Druid most, so I'm either going to want to craft Cenarius or Prophet Velen, or maybe, Archmage Antonidas, because I play a lot of mage games.
Yeah, those are spellcasters too, so you might consider Malygos with its +5.
Yeah, and there are so many other neutral minions, legendary minions, that you should be talking about right now.
Yeah, I actually picked a few of my favorites. So for starting, I really enjoyed. Well, I don't own him. I played him in Arena, and I really enjoyed playing Karen Bloodhoof, who's a 6/4/5.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah, with the death rattle of 4/5, summons a 4/5 Bane Bloodhoof. So you basically get 2 of these cards for the price of 1, and he's basically worth 8/8/10. If he's not silenced due to the mileage you get from his death rattle.
Right.
So he's great for board control and trading, and especially because of his 5 health. He's really difficult to deal with because there's not much in the game that easily takes care of anything of 5 health and above. So I got, for all of these, for all my picks, I got the strengths, the weaknesses, and basically a target use, like what you should shoot for to use with him, if you will, in my opinion. But its strength is, an outstandingly efficient death rattle, to make your opponents hesitate before finishing off a weakened Cairn, and inadvertently summoning a fresh Bane Bloodhoof if they don't have any board control. So if you got like a 6/4/1 Cairn Bloodhoof, you can easily trade, get a minion off the board, and then you got a fresh 4/4/5 on your side. And, it's all good, man. It's all good.
Yeah.
Weaknesses is obviously silence, and he baits silence in particular, because that would basically render him just an expensive 4/5. So you want to use him with Redemption or Ancestral Spirit. So if he dies, he just comes back. Again.
That's awesome.
That's great. Yeah. Or you could use it as a Wind Fury card. You can trade him for control, etc., and then give him the summon Bane Bloodhoof charge that same turn. So yeah, it would work out like that.
Yeah.
My other pick is Gruul. He's an 8/7/7, and at the end of each turn, he gains +1/1. And that's a player turn or the opponent turn. Doesn't matter. At the end of any turn, he gains +1. He's a powerful bastard, simply. He grows more devastating with every turn. And the turn you play him on, at the end of your turn, he's going to be an 8/8. So your opponent will always have to deal with an 8/8 unless you can give him charge. He's easily one of the first legendaries to shoot for, I think, if you're going for an aggressive deck. His strengths are he baits silence, and yet he still remains a viable threat. Gruul is a taunt without being a taunt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Weaknesses, though, he's vulnerable to Flame Strike and a Fireball combo because he's only got 7 health.
Yeah.
So if you're playing a mage, and the mage is it's in their turn, they have an 8/8 to deal with. They just do their hero power, give him down to 7, Flame Strike, and that's it. It's good use of Flame Strike if you ask me.
Yep.
But you want to try to give Gruul stealth to grow if you're feeling really saucy and you want to torment the other player. But he should generally be protected with taunts and given charge or Wind Fury to maximize the one turn kill potentiality of his ability. Though you never want to do that at the detriment of playing tactfully, because Gruul can take care of himself in any event. Usually he can make ramen on his own and that kind of thing. I also picked Malygos, which is a 9/4/12.
Delicious.
With yeah, totally. Spell damage +5, and that's constant.
That's insane.
Yeah, this beast absolutely belongs in spell decks. He turns Consecration into a Flame Strike, and so on. The buff of spell power is like a really often overlooked threat because of Malygos' vast health pool. That could be so intimidating.
Yep.
This, of course, is usually a costly mistake because if you let this go in an attempt to try to bring their health down, you don't want to necessarily waste a sheep or a hex on this guy because you think, the 4 damage, no big deal, it's fine. They just let an expensive 4/12. You kind of overlook something like spell damage because it doesn't immediately affect you until it comes back around to the mage's turn and they hit you for a Pyroblast with 15 damage. That's half of your health. You can turn a Blizzard, which deals 2 damage to all enemy minions and freezes them. You can turn that into a 7 damage. That's a Flame Strike freeze.
Yep.
Or an Avenging Wrath, which deals 8 damage randomly split among other characters. What's 8 + 5?
13.
13? That's 13 damage all across the board randomly. That's crazy.
Yep.
This strength obviously synergizes powerfully with all spells, and at the very least is an annoyingly resilient 4/12. Weaknesses is really just kind of an expensive low attack minion. And silence drastically lowers the efficiency of this card, as it is likely before you can play any buff spells. So try to get some spells off before they get silence, which is most likely going to happen. I think clever players would know better than to hex or sheep this card, but rather just silence it. And if that's the case, just give you can't because taunt would not work on a silence minion. Well, I don't know, just try to buff its attack and use with a summoning portal if you're playing with a warlock, which would be pretty wise. Get the mana cost down to 7. Let's see. Sylvanas Windrunner I thought was a pretty good pick. Not necessarily a priority to craft, but useful all the same if used at the most appropriate and tactful time. Generally, players don't think she's a very good card, but she's never to be played blindly due to the tricky and eye-catching nature of her death rattle. She's a 5/5/5, and her death rattle takes control of a random enemy minion, That's to say, if they only have one minion and she dies, she's going to take control of that one minion. If not, she just dies. That's it. So you never want to play this without getting the use out of it, because it's sneaky board control. You just have to play it at the right time. And perhaps she's not always efficient. She always wins trades, technically. She's perhaps the single best answer to Deathwing as far as minions are concerned. Because if opponent played Deathwing and wiped out their hand and cleared the board, they have suddenly a huge minion on the field. And Sylvanas dies, guess who owns Deathwing? You do. And they have no cards in their hand and nothing else, and you win that game. But she should definitely replace your faceless manipulator in your deck immediately. A good combo for this card is to use with Shadow Flame, which is a Warlock spell that destroys a friendly minion and deals its attack damage to all enemy minions. So obviously you're going to take control of a minion. Well, I don't know, because you'll deal the 5 damage to all of them, because when Sylvanas dies. I don't know if you'd still take control of a minion. I imagine you would. That combo would make sense. I'll have to try that out. But yeah, Silence absolutely renders Sylvanas useless. It's just a 5/5/5.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay, I guess. Give her Redemption or Ancestral Spirit, though. That'll be funny.
Yeah.
Also picked the Black Knight,
Nice.
which is always a pain in the ass. He's a fairly beefy and cheap minion with a legendary battle cry. He's a 6/4/5, and he destroys an enemy minion with taunt. Any enemy minion with taunt. You choose. The popularity of taunts in the metagame kind of come and go. For example, they're not very popular right now. You don't see a whole bunch of people running taunts. But the Black Knight will swing board control back in your court. He's immediately useful because he offers immediate vague removal. He doesn't silence minions. He just destroys the taunt minion. I think the only weakness this guy would have is if like the 2/2 Treant thing spam. Combo him with a Brewmaster to get 2 battle cries out there. That would work.
Yep.
Let's see. We also got Hogger, which anyone that plays WoW is going to know Hogger's name.
Yeah.
He's a bit expensive, but he perpetuates his usefulness provided he can stay alive. He's a 6/4/4, and at the end of your turn, he summons a 2/2 null with taunt at the end of every one of your turns. And the 4/4 of his attack and health is fair, provided the environment that he facilitates is effective, in which he can constantly stay alive and constantly provide taunts on the field. He can help recover, card advantage. You lay him down, you only have 2 cards in your deck, and kind of help you get through the turns and get some more cards in your hand, and kind of edge your way back into the scene.
Yep.
If you're a paladin, you play this card. Play him with Sword of Justice, which is whenever you summon a minion, you give it +1 and 1. So all those taunts are going to be 3/3s. That would be great.
Oh yeah.
And he baits rash board control because you're going to want to get rid of him as soon as possible to get rid of those taunts and that summon and all that. So you might bait out a Flame Strike or something like that, which is pretty good considering he's not all that beefy, but he's particularly susceptible to silence, which would make him an expensive 4/4. And then there's Blood Mage Thalanos. He's great for early aggression, being a 2/1/1. He's easy to summon. He's legendary at 2/1/1. And he replaces himself easily with Death Rattle, easily at the cost of only 2 mana. Because at Death Rattle he draws a card, and it's plus spell 1 damage. This is great with like a Hellfire in a Warlock deck, which deals 3 damage to all characters. He's going to die, but he's going to replace himself with a card draw, and you just initiated some great AoE. He's useful anytime during the game, and he synergizes well with most decks. You could poke him with a pillow and kill him, though.
Yeah.
And then lastly, my favorite card of the legendary minions is Ragnaros.
Ragnaros.
Yes. He's got great music. He's got a great voice clip when you play him.
I love Ragnaros. I love. I never fought him. Like I haven't run the Firelands in WoW. I haven't done that. But I went back with my 90, with my priest, and I just bubbled myself and like ran through. I forgot what instance he's in, what raid he's in, like Molten Core or some crap like that. But I ran through that by myself, and I went and actually killed him. Which was awesome because it was vanilla WoW content, and I got to see all that. But yeah, Ragnaros is rad.
He's so rad. He's an 8/8/8, and he can attack, but at the end of your turn, he deals 8 damage to a random enemy.
Yeah.
So he's immediately useful. So you play him, and he passes your turn, you get 8 damage out, and they can't do anything about it, unless, of course, they have a secret.
Right.
But he's my favorite because of you know how recklessly volatile playing with him is for both players. As Ragnaros is the Fire Lord, playing with him is quintessentially like playing with fire, and I love that because he's immediately useful, like I said. And, you know, he just deals 8 damage to something, a minion, the other hero. It doesn't matter. It all has to go. And Ragnaros synergizes with that idea. If nothing else, he's arguably the first legendary you should craft, in my opinion, because he's useful, he's neutral, he works in any deck. I mean, I don't know a good time not to play him other than turn 7 because he can't.
Right.
He trades very well with other minions if he's attacked, obviously, because he's an 8/8. And he baits hexing and sheeping, which is fine because you couldn't attack with him anyway. But his ability is not physical, and it involves it involves no mutual trading of damage. So he does his 8 damage to a random enemy. It's not like he takes damage. That's like a magical effect. But if he's silenced, which is best case scenario, if he's silenced, that 8 damage ability goes away, but he's then able to attack, making him doubly threatening. So you got to come up with something besides silence to get him. Give him taunt, you know, don't give him stealth, give him taunt, and that would be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my picks. If anyone else has any listeners have any other better mentions, email them to the show at duelistdiscussion@gmail.com. You have anything else you want to add, Ryan?
No, that's about it, I think.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, thank you for the ratings on iTunes. We love those 5 stars. It's great. Thank you for visiting our site. And we thank Audible for the support of the show.
Always.
You can find us on Twitter at Discussion Show, Facebook /Duelist Discussion, and our main site where you can listen to our shows, subscribe, all that, catch up with us. That's duelistdiscussion.squarespace.com. It's been a good show, Ryan. I'll see you next week, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always.
All right, man. Take care, guys.
All right, bye, guys.
Everything. This is all digital.